So we see the normal bands going out. Vi actually passed through last game. Not this time. I'm sorry, Kobe.
Tough luck there.
No jungle cast.
But I mean,
either.
like we talked about, the Elise Vi, pretty much these two of the highest junglers right now, either picked up or banned very early. And then also Ziggs and Kassadin, two of the highest mid laners. Same thing goes here.
Seeing what these guys really put at priority for each other. Style of Nubby Pooh Bear, you know him a little bit better. What is he aggressive? Is he a roamer?
Yeah, I feel like he's a pretty versatile player.
Okay.
Definitely also a fan of Gragas is up right now, so I think that might be one of the contested picks around here. But I mean, it's just such a versatile pick. He works in so many different compositions, and he's really powerful right now. Yes!
It feels
good. So good.
They do grab up Gragas. That is locked in. It's going to be Sphinx and LG Hunter to pretty much bring in their picks now. So they know what they're going up against. They have to figure out, whoa, yeah, probably pick Kale, but what they can team fight with, because that's going to be a big portion of the game here with Gragas.
Right. So when you're faced with a Gragas who's going to split up your team, what kind of things are you going to looking for? Well, let's see. You can either go for split pushing compositions, look for a very strong assassin, because that will be able to do well against him in lane, and then in the late game you can have him split push, and your team will try to avoid those casts altogether. But you also have to worry about the tower siege game, because teams that run Gragas will often bring in something like Caitlyn or something where they can do a lot of turret damage after they knock you back,
right?
Or clear out your waves. So a couple different things that you're going to have to worry about. Having the Kale is kind of an all-around pick here. We've seen how well she scales into the late game because she often gets Lich Bane. Like I said, it just is basically adding another AP scaling onto your champion. So her late game is inherently going to be very strong. And then the ultimate is just a great tool for whoever gets knocked into a bad position. Only problem is Kale has to be close enough to use it.
Right.
The range was reduced on it a long time ago.
Long
it's
time
shorter
ago.
than it used to.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing what Mikasa will pick up here. These guys love Attack on Titan. I don't even know what it is.
Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. 25 series of awesome. So we'll see what they decide to go. Another Ezreal. I guess it's more of a safe pick. Feels better. That's really what it seems to have been so far, because like I said, it's not the lane you're going to super win unless something goes exceptionally right for you, because that's not a lane you're given a win in.
You might have to wait on that one a little bit.
It wasn't locked in.
But he is a champion that can sort of deal with the Shyvana Olaf dive, which is something that almost AD carries, that's the stuff of nightmares for AD carries. An Olaf.
This meta?
Yeah, exactly. Olaf with the Ragnarok, you cannot peel him. So you've got an amount of time there where you can't peel, and you have to make do with your own jukes and your own mobility. So bit of a defensive pick there. Could have been a defensive, just gut reaction.
And maybe also swapping off of it because you have the Kale. A little too safe there. If you're going to intervention somebody that can flash away, that's a little waste of an intervention. So
yeah, the thing about Kale is she's such a late game threat that a lot of the times there's a big opportunity cost to using your ultimate on somebody else, because you're going to be squishy and you're a very high damage. You have very high damage output, so the other team's going to be looking to kill you.
Right.
If you give your intervention to someone else, then you're left sort of defenseless here, and they can switch targets. Like target swapping against Kale, that's how you beat a Kale team. Just go from one of their threats to another one of their threats. So like, I don't know if you played WoW Arenas or something. Quick target swapping is very, very useful against Kale team.
I didn't, but we do see a Twitch coming in today, which is different.
You called that one out at the beginning, and I did not believe you. Different team, but close enough.
Close enough. Well, we'll hand it over.
They're going to go with the rat and the ball.
Does that make sense, though? Oh, no, maybe. That's so weird, though, because there's nothing to really squish them down for him to spray and pray the rest of the life out of him.
We can at least kick him back in there, kick him into a straight line. Anyway, though, that's a classic combo.
Yeah, it is.
This harkens back to the beginning, before Season 1. Like, this is the beginning of Season 1 here.
You have
like
flashbacks?
When Twitch, yes.
You're getting ready to suit up?
Nightmares of the overpowered Twitch with Kale immunity just ripping through teams. But you're right. It'll be hard for him to line people up because, you know, Olaf is going to run zigzags wherever he wants to go, and then Shyvana as well can jump on you. So I'm excited now to see the old rat in the ball here. Twitch combo.
Well, now I am. You got me super excited.
Good.
I mean, I saw it, and it's kind of like, like I said,
Get
where
excited.
the kill's going to come from, but it's interesting. They're going to show us. They chose it for a reason. As the teams load on into the Rift, we have time to break down these two squads and how they earn their way into tonight's matchup. Starting with the top team in the ranked ladder, Cognitive Forge.
So, even though Cognitive Forge came into Friday's matchup against Kimchi Too Spicy, the odds were definitely on them to win because they are the #1 and Kimchi Too Spicy were the last place. They were a little bit too hot for them to handle there.
Yep.
It took them 50 minutes to dispatch of that last seeded team. So not quite the cleanest execution. Usually you expect a big discrepancy there.
Very
but
interesting.
Nubby Pooh Bear did step up. He went on Ari, and he stepped up to 11, 4, and 5 score. And their AD carry as well, Diamond, had a very good game. He racked up 5 kills, 1 death, 8 assists. So gold medals, I guess, to the mid laners and the AD carries here for the team. Another name we are going to recognize, as I said before, the support, Atomic N. He gets some credit for that AD carry score just by default. He was playing on Team Marn in the LCS. He's got some experience in these high-pressure situations, and it's just a very, very, I guess, high name recognition on this team. You know, with all these guys that have been in the scene, sort of dipped in and out. They're really hungry. You talked about the hunger of these teams. The guys that have already had a little taste, they really want to get back in.
Don't call them a super team. That seems to be not doing well for people. Spawning in the opposite corner of the map from Cognitive today is Yso Esports.
All right, so Yso Esports got their spot in tonight's match after a hard-fought 55-minute victory over the Challenger 8 team. That's actually their name.
Yes.
Their mid laner, Mikasa, did come up big on Ziggs, dropping 9 kills and 8 assists. So Ziggs, not going to get that one again. So I have to see if we can pull off the same sort of performance
I was really hoping we would.
Yeah, like there's not really any champions that have a similar style to Ziggs.
Right.
He's got the longest range massive wave clear of anyone in the game. He's kind of a unique position. And he sort of just makes your team comp a sieging comp just by having Ziggs on your team. You've got that late game to fall back on. Not anyone else really does bring that to the table. Gragas is maybe the closest, but the range isn't there, so we'll have to see.
I was hoping that we did get a Ziggs pick because we were talking about the Sheen on Orianna, and some people were like, oh, wait, let's just build Triforce, get a little crit damage, and it still works with the passive instead of the Lich Bane. It was a fun little build people were doing for a little bit. Really only happened in solo queue, obviously, but you're like, Triforce on Ziggs? Ow, that hurt. Whoa, you just critted your magic AP damage, so it's pretty cool.
The Lich Bane already, you're bordering on some thin ice there with your with your AP carry. But if you go Trinity Force, then that's just fooling around. That's something like Gambit would do when they're just so confident they're winning this game. And Darian's going with his Shyvana with a Lich Bane. Don't care.
Just because he can. What's the next level? What's the next buy? Oh yeah, needlessly large rod. Thanks. Remember, I think it was Saint that was saying that. It's like when a game happens and the jungler can do that, you pretty much know that the game's out of hand.
My favorite style buy when you're just crushing a team is always Zanya's, because then you can pose for the pictures, especially on teams like Zac or something. You can get one of those weird.
Were you a big Zac player?
Weird blob movements.
Did you ever pick him
when
up
he was first? When he was in the time when he was considered OP, or similar to when he first came out, I definitely was a fan of those very long range elastic slingshots, but
he provided a different style of play to the game. Not many champions. I mean, I guess Gragas does it, but he can do it every time he elastic slingshots. You stand in front of a turret and you show the team, and you see everybody just trickle backwards. He presented that, and not many champions can. It's crazy. We'll have to see what these guys have for each other. Remember, the team that wins this game is going to be against LMQ.
Right. So they've got a very tough match ahead of them.
Right.
Because we just saw dominating all the lanes. We revealed. Oh, it's godlike in the top lane. Everybody already knew that, except for us, though.
Thanks, social media. Absolutely. But tonight is really a chance for these guys to make an impact, to try and get themselves that much further to the round of 8. And it's something that weighs on their shoulders, because you have to consider even the super team in Europe, not to call back to their losses, but their experience. They have a lot. these guys are just trying to come up. So they're learning new things every time they're on the stage. And that has to go in with them playing at their best as well. So many things just falling on them at one time.
And there is, a lot of added pressure
yes.
worth talking about when you come all the way over to North America. EG can relate to this because, they came all the way over here, and there's so much pressure to perform well because you put a lot of resources and spent, invested so much in coming over to this scene. Want to perform once you get here.
All right, let's see what happens with these lineups. We are into the game, our second Challenger Series here in North America. Brought to you by Kobe and Riv the first time around here. Jat and Freak, and you were doing some EU Challengers, which had some pretty good games as well.
My God, EU Challenger, don't care. Look at this pink ward start from the jungler. All right, we got a pink ward start here from Wappa. Oh, is that Wappa Chang Mang? Yeah, I think that's the solo queue guy. That used to be his name. He shortened it probably for
good reason for
these
me.
Games. But anyways, yeah, pretty sick name, right? Anyway, that guy's also been in the scene for quite a long time.
And the ting tang tong of the Wappa Chang. We'll see what they're setting up. Looks like they've taken notes from the LCS.
Yeah, it's kind of gotten a little stale with the old level 1s here. Nobody starts very many wards anymore. Wappa Chang Mang has decided to buck the trend, though, going with the early pink ward, because early pink wards nowadays last forever. The only person roaming around is the junglers, and the junglers aren't going to be going through all these random bushes. So if you buy a pink ward this early, it could easily last 10 minutes. Get so much value out of that early pink ward. He's decided to place it in the small bush of the river. We'll have to keep a timer on that, see how much they actually get out of that pink ward.
There's a pretty good timer from Korea on that bush. I don't know the exact time. I know it's over 10 minutes, though. So we'll see if we can beat it. It's going to be a long one. Everybody just walk on by it. And it's interesting that ward as well. When Yso Esports placed it down, they're like, we don't want it in the bush. We'll just put it. It's not interesting, but I noticed it, Kobe. See what they can do here in the bottom lane. It's going to be Tick and Alex the Man on Twitch. And you got your Thresh. He's got control of the brush already, so this is bad. Atomic and Diamond on Jinx and Leona. So pushing back already before level 1 here, or 2, I should say.
It's a good point. The side bush control is extremely important with champions like Thresh that are looking for those initiations from the Fog of War to hide the wind-up time of his death sentence. When you see it coming, it's so easy to dodge. But if it's coming out of that bush, reduces your reaction time and makes for a lot of much better plays coming out of that Thresh.
So let's just, since not much is happening, what does that pink ward kind of do? It won't set back Wappa too much.
The pink ward? No, you're right. Olaf has amazing sustain in the jungle, so he doesn't need a whole bunch of extra pots. Just Olaf already is able to clear so well since Machete was buffed to give you life back on attack. And Olaf, being the powerhouse that he is, he can afford that extra buy. Now, what does it actually do for them? It alerts their top laner to any sneaky ganks that are going to come up the river. So their top laner only has to ward the Tribush, which is something that a lot of top laners do already, but they always have to worry about the long river route for junglers to come up.
And we got to make mention, Sphinx and Mikasa swapped up in the lanes here. We have Renekton versus Gragas instead of that Kale matchup.
That is a good point. Renekton mid again. Last time we saw that might have been Fnatic not doing so hot with it. Tried to run it into Kassadin to keep him down. But interesting aggression down bottom. Double buff jungler coming in.
Unfortunately, the Sonic Wave hitting Diamond, so it kind of altered who they were focusing in that fight. But yeah, as you were saying, Renekton versus Gragas.
Renekton versus Gragas, they're both melees, and Renekton has a pretty big upper hand on a lot of melee champions. That's why he's so strong in the top lane. The short lane, though, reduces the effectiveness a little bit because Gragas can clear those waves from range pretty easily with his barrels, and it's such a short lane, like he doesn't have to overextend if he does want to get up there and in his face. So with Body Slam being able to take you all the way back nicely to your turret, shouldn't be too rough for him. I mean, it's definitely going to keep him a little bit down, but shouldn't be a huge problem.
We'll see who it really plays into the favor of. A great The whole time they have had control of that brush. They even have a ward in it, and they're still hitting the death sentence.
I really like that play from Atomic. He was flayed over to the Twitch, so he got the stun off, and then Zenith Blade back to the Thresh and able to escape right after, avoiding a lot of damage output from that initiation that could have actually turned pretty badly for them.
And they do get Diamond out safely, so everything was done accordingly for the mishap that had occurred. That buy is going to get him a Vampiric Scepter, so he comes back to lane.
Another thing Wappa just did, he went through his pink ward route to know that he's not seen coming around the backside jungle for this gank.
Ooh, and they are going to be able to pinch on Mikasa here. There's the heal. That means the speed up steroid has been used. This is the chase down. The undertow hits. They flash the second one, though, and Wappa has to go a little bit out of his way to grab that. Great job there by Mikasa.
All right, able to get the flash down from Kale. Pretty big bonus, but still, Shyvana here having a hard time dealing with the range of the Kale. Kale really only has to worry about the all-in attempts, and since Shyvana this early does not have a reliable gap closer, doesn't have Dragon's Ascent, only has the speed buff from Burnout to use. So Kale can see that one coming a mile away, and pre-6, having a pretty good time. Wow, there's the burst! Sphinx
goes in. That's great. Gets the kill down. He's level 6. That's going to help. Whoa, Wappa. Whoa, Wappa. You don't want much of that. 1-0 now. 7 minutes onto the game. We're going to see what they can do. 8,500 gold to 75. That's not going to be too bad for them. The 1K gold lead here, and it really only comes from that in the top lane.
I thought that was a good reaction. It was so surprising. And we had thought, my initial reaction was, yeah, Nubby Pooper was going for the burst, but the Renekton has his ultimate in his pocket, so a little burst of life, able to barely get him out of that one alive. Exciting play in the mid.
And about Kale on the top lane, we kind of saw him blow his flash there. Not exactly the best long lane champion to play.
Exactly. You know, he's got the small speed boost that you talked about from the heal, but he's going to have to reward now since he doesn't have that summoner. Wappa, though, having burned his ghost, his ganks are going to be a little bit less threatening. However, the pink ward has lasted this long. There's no reason that it could not last another 5 minutes, and he could make that same gank route pay off.
Grim Samurai headed down to the bottom lane. Sphinx getting himself in trouble once again. He was just aggressive, and he got out of a situation going back in without flash or ignite, but maybe that's the short lane play. He knows he can get him.
So I don't think Grim Samurai is used to ganking since he's a top laner. Whenever you gank Renekton, you really want to come from the side, so he can't slice and dice through you.
Oh, he gets the edge of the hitbox. Beautiful job going on to the AD carry. A smart choice by Atomic End, but he may have put himself too far back, not knowing that Lee Sin was also there. It looks like they'll continue on this one, Kobe. Looks like they'll pick up another kill.
Lee Sin's going pretty deep for it, but he used his Q already. He used the Q to where Jinx was, and then had to flash over because Jinx flashed, so he wanted to land the cripple. They didn't end up getting that one kill. Beautiful hook from Tick.
Really going to be going Nubby Pooh Bear with a bit of rotation, but a very nice ward. The side of the turret wall is able to keep him at bay and not get any kills out of this. He's hitting level 7, so he was just behind Sphinx a little bit. And with the a little back and forth there. Good dodge by both of them as they whiff.
Yeah, Nubby getting low on mana means that Renekton going to have a bit easier time for the next creep wave. He can heal up with the rage-empowered Q. Lee Sin starting off this dragon because he has a sweeper, so he's got the confidence that there's no ward around the dragon, but you can see that how small the circle is for those sweepers. This is why I really like the early upgrades into the oracles, because you use that sweeper, there could still be a ward in the back of the dragon pit, even though this one's going uncontested. The area of effect for it is not quite big enough for those Baron or dragon pits, and it could be a very costly mistake because it will lure you into a false sense of confidence, making you think that the other team doesn't know, doesn't have any vision and doesn't know you're there.
And they steal it with a Peacemaker.
And they steal it with a Peacemaker, just like the LCS.
But you can't this time because you don't have a Caitlyn. Chat was talking about that. You can't pull something out of nowhere.
No?
10 minutes coming up on the clock.
That's rubbish.
That is rubbish. Malarkey, and we'll see what happens here. Grim Samurai throwing down the Dragon's Descent. You can see Kale getting away
Still
just
no flash,
a little
though.
bit. Yeah, no flash. A little bit antsy-pantsy by Grim Samurai there. Wappa wasn't really in range for the undertow.
Yeah, just coming from the lane gank,
right.
Really hard to pull off without his ghost available. So not able to close the distance. You know, if he did go back through that same path through his pink ward and get around behind him, might have been a different story. We'll have to wait and see. That story is going to come out a bit later.
Tick just knowing the capacity of what he can do with Thresh right now. Knowing he's getting a little bit from all those souls, and he'll be able to one-on-one Leona if she walks into the brush. They've done a great job of controlling the bottom lane, and now Yso Esports tries to control a bit of the top lane.
All right, so they get the Ragnarok out of him and some decent damage. They're also going to get control of the lane now because they got such a big chunk out of him. They can shove it back. The only problem is that they're recalling. Ha! JK.
So far, we look at this lane swap between Sphinx and Mikasa. They're 20 CS, about 20 CS ahead in each lane, so the swap is working for them if you compare the lanes where they should be.
It's working out pretty decently.
At least in CS.
Yeah,
you don't know where it's going to
exactly.
go from here.
And there was that kill in the mid lane that was very close, which could have gone either way. So
yeah, that's true.
I do like the swap, though. You're right. Kale only having really to worry about the all-ins. Now she's post 6 and has her flashback, so probably not going to go down too soon.
Not much of a minion wave there. They have the siege. You can see Tick kind of changing his position. Almost goes for that sentence. A little telled there, though. We could even see it coming in. And CFG is starting to figure that out.
That's why they're trying to re-get vision control of this bush. Those hooks coming out of the side bush are just so dangerous for an immobile AD carry like Jinx, who does not have her flash available.
Wow. Great zoning in the bottom lane by these guys. Obviously, they're going to be farmed at the turret, but they are giving Cognitive Forge a little bit more to think about, a little bit more trouble in everything they do.
So the laning phase is working pretty long here, without a lot of turret damage because there have been no swaps. It looks like he got it. He stole that. The smite. He smote it.
Yeah, smoted. Smeeting. Oh, Atomic goes in, a good flay. That was a walk away death sentence there.
Good box.
Alex the
good
man.
Lantern.
Alex the man almost going down. Is there a safeguard? There is. Oh, Gunter comes in. He does make Alex the man, and he stays alive as well. They get out of this one safely.
Close call right there. Able to get out with the invisibility from Twitch. And we'll have to see if they actually want to turn this one around because Elysin staying in the bush. I mean, CFG have to be aware that he's not recalled already, so they're going to have to play like he's sitting in that bush, even though they are not 100% sure.
I will farm with Zap from here on out, says Diamond. And he's trying to do just that. 85, and he's still up in CS. For as much as aggression as they're getting, how is he up in CS? It's only 3, but they're still up. They've been back to the wall the whole time.
Well, when you lose a lot, you use a lot of your time and concentration going for harass, like this combo has with all the landed thresh hooks. Then sometimes you lose out on the CS. But he's also had a couple of ganks down bottom and been revisited a few times.
Doing a great job of synergy farming there with Atomic. Not too much damage, obviously, coming in with the Scepter. Get that farm on. So kudos to Diamond in that bottom lane. Wappa being found in the jungle,
no Ragnarok.
Though. Yeah, this could hurt a little bit. Wow, they are just throwing him around right now. He's like a teddy bear. Wappa goes down.
Great invade, and they're going to be able to successfully take away this red, even though the collapse from CFG is coming in.
That was awesome. Can they get it through the wall? A beautiful solar flare actually stops Sphinx from trying to slice and dice through that to get into the fight and pursue. A great job. Cognitive doing a really nice job of getting themselves where they need to be.
Playing with fire, though, because
yeah, they are. They're making it out with like a sliver of health, but the team, I should say, was helping each other in the right place, right time.
Yeah, that was very close, though. Being down a man, dangerous in your own jungle. I mean, just look at how many red wards have been peppered in this bottom side of the map now. They really are trying to make aggressive plays with that bottom lane. Twitch already, I talked about, once he gets to that point when he can go invisible, he's looking for assassinations as an AD carry. One of the only AD carries that does that, because you rush an item like the Blade of the Ruin King, it gives you that assassination potential. So much 1 versus 1 potential with that item. If he sneaks up on you and uses that attack speed buff from his ambush, and he could burn through you very quickly.
And it's interesting that we brought up in the beginning, oh, there's a dragon as well. That's pretty interesting. Grim Samurai coming in from the dark on the side of the map. Again, Mikasa looks like he's going to be able to walk right out of this one. He has another hero for himself. Ooh. No, he puts on the potion, and he has the fancy shoes on to get the dodge.
Nice little sidestep there. It was such a great move from Grim Samurai to get in there. They got the flash almost enough to get Mikasa low enough to ult at least, but they'll take the turret.
Yeah.
Objective actually a really big prize for them. They're going to trade that for the dragon. Since Wappa showed up in the top lane, they made a really quick call here. And just are going for the dragon. Now, Gragas has definitely a large potential for stealing neutral objectives like this, and it's up to them to just wait until the barrel explodes.
Ooh, it goes actually to Gunter. Very nice smite control. Actually didn't get the smite control. Nope. They just queued it. Maybe got the percent on Sonic Wave, yeah.
So really, chancy move right there.
Yeah.
Nubby, even though his barrel did expire, he flashed in to go for the ulti combo. Just not quite enough to get it.
You know, something we might finally be able to see, we made mention of before, Kobe. The lane swap seemed weird because you're not going to get the kale roam to start that with Alex the Man on Twitch, as we were talking about, getting that scary Twitch with intervention. That might be able to start happening, but as I say that, probably Mikasa goes back to the top lane.
Yeah, as we move in towards the mid game. So the laning phase here, most of the action does come from junglers roaming, but now we have to worry about the roaming Twitch because he's got a red buff. That makes the assassination that much scarier because he's got double slows now with his Blade of the Ruined King active.
And look what's still alive. The first pink ward put down on the map, we're at 16 minutes in, and it's, I believe that's the same one.
I believe he placed it at around 130, 140 or so. So, yeah, upwards of 15 minutes. We talked about the value of the early ones. That one definitely...
Some good return on investment.
Exactly.
We have actually seen them focusing that top lane, and something that Wappa does, and a lot of junglers will.
Oh no, he found it! Lee Sin has finally found the ward.
Wappa actually didn't do anything with it! No, there he goes. He's like, wait a minute, that's gold!
That's 5 hits, though. It's going to take him a while to finish that.
You got to get that Q up. Extra attack speed. Get it done quick.
Meanwhile,
but they've been using that to focus the top.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have a splash.
That's not going to be good. You're only invulnerable for a few seconds. Give that red buff to Grim Samurai. So that makes that lane even harder. It's a long lane for Mikasa. Red buff slowed now. We'll have to see where they can take this. And I was saying before, Wappa, he always waits for his trinket to come up. Now he's gone for the sweeper, but every time he went to gank, he was like, I'll put this behind me. Who's following? You know what I mean? Safe on every gank. And they've really given Mikasa a hard time for the long lane.
Repeat attention up there. Yeah, a lot of attention. They don't want that kill to get to the late game.
Is Zenith
stun miss, but they got the slow.
Ooh, very nice little play there. Atomic again took a few extra steps, but they do get back the retribution for the attack. And it's going to be Alex taking the rocket to the face, right under the turret, under their nose. They're able to take down Diamond. Atomic goes very low once again and gets out of the fight alive. It's always Diamond. Great focus by Yso Esports.
2 good sidesteps are going to go off here. So they only get the slow and not the stun, which means that he can just click that lantern as the Zenith Blade flashes before his eyes. And then the landed hook means Thresh not hesitating. So 1 turret hit goes off, and he barriers a little bit late, but it takes all of barrier damage anyway, and he just flashes to the side for style.
It just goes to show kind of Yso Esports' ability to reassess a fight. You saw the Flask go out onto Jinx. You saw the Atomic going on, or damage going on to Atomic. And then even without the Flasks, they were able to coordinate and take down Jinx. So they really had to adapt in that fight immediately to get what they wanted under the turret, which was pretty scary.
And the 1v1 power of a Blade of the Ruined King. He got the active to heal him up a little bit. That plus barrier was enough for him to survive the combo.
We'll see where they can go for this. Nash's Tooth already out onto Mikasa. He's going to be putting down some pain onto Nubby Pooh Bear. We'll see what those attacks bring in damage. Next time we get a view of it, we don't see that Gunter is going to be doing much for the team right now, but with these aggressive plays, Alex the Man and Tick are playing in the face of Cognitive right now, and they should.
So that should probably be drawing some more attention from the jungle down to their lane.
As you say.
Grim Samurai should be okay right now up in the top lane because it's past the point where Renekton has a huge bully potential on Shyvana. Wow, they're just going to go again down bottom. They did bring
same
Wappa.
minds there, thinking alike. They were going for the ward, and it looks like Tick was like, we don't have enough vision. We don't have enough this. Wappa says, we need some kills, and they get down to the bottom lane. Very nice job. They're able to kind of get back some of that gold, but it's the assist that Thresh had. Gunter there. They're able to finally get Atomic End. There he goes, finally going down. That's his first death of the game. He's been actually doing quite well to keep himself alive, but Diamond finds himself in a bad spot here. Blade of the Rune King is used, and the active was already there, so he's not getting any more slow out of that.
They are going to gain control of this bottom lane, though. They've made Gragas roam all the way down, so even though they won't be able to push him in too far, he had to leave mid lane. So they just basically trade turret damage up here, or down here for up there.
There's one of the picks they could get. Jinx won't be able to follow up on the damage, but I think this is going to be a kill here coming in for Nubby Pooh Bear. He gets the full-length body slam to get the chase kill. And we see mid lane is taken over by Mikasa now as Sphinx heads to the top, again with the Hydra build on Renekton.
I love that by Nubby Pooh Bear, expecting the dive. He stays in there and sort of baits it in, knowing that he has Jinx in the back pocket and his ultimate's still available. Very, very well played, and they're just barely holding onto these outer turrets.
A lot of this gold sitting there ready to be taken. Here again comes Wappa up the backside. Grim Samurai going back to base here. It looks like Sphinx is still going to get caught out somewhat. Oh, he tricked out Wappa. Wappa tried to take a turntail and go down towards the Tri-Brush, but it looks like they get one undertow here at least. He could probably slice and dice right through Wappa to get out of this one, but he goes towards the less amount of crowd control, and that's Shyvana.
He's closing in a little bit, but he bought enough time for the cooldown of his slice and dice.
So that's actually really good coming in for Yso Esports. They go top, they go bottom, turret for turret, or not turret for turret, turret and another one. And now it's going to be the mid lane, really the one to open up the rest of the map for these guys. And we'll see if Yso Esports has that prioritized after Dragon.
Yeah, they didn't really make anything happen after they saw Wappa top for the gank onto Sphinx. But they're able to capitalize now with the Dragon. And that's going to be a pretty big chunk of gold.
Absolutely.
Back
That's
in their
3
favor.
dragons in their favor now, so they're only stacking up.
Nubby Pooh Bear with the early Zanyas as well for Gragas means his combo won't do quite as much to burst people down, but he will have those extra stasis seconds that he can fall back on after he uses his abilities to wait for cooldowns.
Wow, very nice job by Yso Esports. They're ready to huddle around the team. Not really baiting out attacks there, just catching CFG off guard and not allowing them to follow up. 198 to 184 in that mid lane, but they're pretty much even here, and even in kills, I should say. One interesting buy, though, that Void Staff coming out right after the Nashers.
So that's going to be a very high damage Q from the Kale. He's not going with the Lichbane Rush after his Nashor's Tooth. Probably go with that one, maybe third item. If he doesn't go for the death cap, but it means that his burst potential is really high. When this Olaf and Shyvana jump in and try and rush down their Twitch, not only is the Twitch going to have an intervention to fall back on, but also Kale is going to have a pretty big spike of magic damage on either of those champions who have not built any magic resistance.
There it is. The Wet Noodle fight in the top lane. Are their health bars moving? I think they're healing.
Yeah, I don't know about that Void Staff Rush, because look, I talked about no magic resistance on the tank. There's actually, I don't see a magic resistance item here.
That's true.
For
Russian
the whole
Borg
team.
on Grim Samurai, so that's not going to be any tank that they need. And Sunfire Cape looks like to be the next thing for Olaf.
Yeah.
Like you said, Kale's going to want to use that intervention on herself. We saw Overpow 2v1ing over in the EU Challenger.
Another interesting thing that Yso Esports are doing is not having the Twitch roam, even though he's got a pretty big power spike right now with his Blade of the Ruined King and Shiv combo. They're just keeping him down in the bottom lane, solo shoving this lane like a lot of teams would do with more mobile AD carries like Bane. They're actually using the Twitch with the same idea because he's got an invisibility, and if he sees anyone come down to try and gank him, try and use that to escape.
Well, Leona has a pink ward. We see Grim Samurai in a bit of a problem here.
Uh-oh.
Now it's him on the chase. Last time it was Sphinx trying to get out. I don't think Grim Samurai is going to make it too far on this one. It's only up to who gets the kill. That's going to be Sphinx on the Call of the Meek. He brings that up for himself. Now 2-0 in the top lane. 218 CS.
And Alex just pushing away again with that static Shiv. Really helps out his wave clear, and he's continually pressuring this bottom. Now his support's running for his life, though. Trying to ward up for him and make his split pushing a safer and easier job.
I could just imagine the comms between them. I got you, wait, go, okay, I'm warding. And he's just down there going invisible when he needs to. Tick is just...
Wow, that was a huge win for him.
Yeah, what?
Only a death sentence and he pops the Ragnarok. That's a very long cooldown. just for one death sentence landing from a solo thresh. There's no kill potential there. For
I think there's more scare of not having vision into what that was going to lead to, and that's the security system that Tick's been putting up. Thumbs up to him for Yso Esports. He's really helping to control the bottom side and the push of that lane.
And I do, although the rotations from Yso Esports have been a little bit rusty, a little bit slow, they did get the objectives after they get the kill. So
that's a good
they kill top lane and then just run straight down top lane with both those members. Lee Sin sticking around for the tower kill after they take out Grim Samurai.
And you can see, as it should be, the hardest lane to push is Gragas. They haven't taken down the mid turret yet. We're going to get to see how much HP is on that in just a second. And you can see it's taking quite a hit. It's down to about a third, a little less than that. So it won't be too long. That's potential gold for the pocket of Yso Esports.
Twitch going for the assassination kill, finally. Oh, the Chomper is hard to work around, though.
That was so much damage, and he only got one hit of his spray and pray off.
Yeah.
Not something that that Diamond wants any bit of. So the Blade of the Rune King has been used in the bottom lane. We can see that that's kind of all gone. The active and the ult's gone.
He could come up for a flank,
Gonna help with the team now, correct.
Even without the active and without his ultimate, an extra person on the field, this would be a power play in mid.
It's scary. Yeah, it's like watching a game of cat and mouse. You gotta get quiet.
They won't hear you. The thing is, they're not the ones with the hard engage, so they're relying on slows to keep them there for this team fight. If Thresh is not going to land a long-range death sentence, then it's going to be very hard for them to make that initiation themselves. And they have to just return to the lanes that are winning and the split-pushing style that they've been using to great effect so far.
We got double sweepers on both teams now. Those were actually traded out some time ago. Alex going all the way, just gets out of chompers.
This is
deja vu over and over. Yeah, the time,
this
the connection
is a 4.1 patch, I mean. So those things take a little bit longer to arm, which means they can't chomp you as quickly after putting them down.
Alex is loving that right now. He's almost got taken out. A lot of people starting to focus that bottom lane. And you have to consider that Cognitive Forge is kind of getting flustered right now. They don't know how to stop everything that's going on. There's too much on their plate.
The Dragon control should be heavily in favor of Yso Esports. So if they get lax right now and they lose vision control and allow CFG to steal this one away, then that would be a pretty big mistake, because they're the ones who have a pretty good hold on this game. And going for that 50-50 Dragon, probably not a chance that they really need to take. Well, they're going to do it, and Nubby Pooh Bear's going to have another chance here. We'll see if he can pull it off 2 times in a row.
Well, everybody's got the summoner spells and the ults that they need coming into this fight. A good grab onto Wappa. The Ragnarok is blown once again to start the fight. Hunter going very low, and Lee Sin's going to fall to the hands of Grim Samurai. You see the invulnerability went off of Alex. They did put it onto Twitch, and they are able to turn this fight in their favor. But now it's another 3v3 facing off against each other as they reset on Dragon.
Yeah, both front lines down now. So it's basically damage dealers versus damage dealers here, and whoever gets the first hit and then CC to land is going to be the ones that come out ahead. Smite is up for Wappa,
They're baiting each other into taking the Dragon. It's going to go over. Wappa gets it, but he goes down instantly, and that's what you're talking about, the damage versus damage. The next kill didn't even get a chance to blink.
All right, so they are the ones with the Smite left, so they wanted to not let that Dragon get away. And trading one additional kill for a Dragon at this point in the game, definitely worth it. They came out with a nice chunk of extra gold there. Wappa sacrificing himself for the greater good.
Great job, Ackerman almost. Alex the man, 3-0-4 on Twitch right now. Still seeing these champions put up the fight they need to. A lot of people in the LCS scene haven't been using these compositions. Again, we're seeing even more happen, and it's going to be huge damage from Nubby Pooh Bear. They're going to give that one to Diamond. He's had a tough lane, and that's a great kill trade, or not trade, but give to him.
All right, so now what are they going to do with the extra little bit of money that they just received from Dragon, plus picking off the support? What you want are your tanks with some sort of attack speed reduction for this Twitch, because it's going to be hard for them to finish off Twitch. You know, he's got that guaranteed invulnerability. He's going to be at least getting off some auto attacks. If you can slow down his attack speed at least, or buy a Thorn Mail so he starts killing himself with his auto attacks, then those are pretty much the only options that they have. Because from this point on, Twitch does scale ridiculously well with all of the piercing shots that are going to come from his ultimate, the spray and pray.
Now, one of the wards, or a few actually just disappeared around Dragon, but you can still see there's 3, and then a 4th by CFG. They're trying to ward up as much as possible, but then you look at Yso Esports. They have the pink wards to shut everything down. They want Twitch to be able to move freely, and really they're enabling that.
Talking about pink wards too, we might need some sort of vision picked up here for CFG in order to kill that Twitch. They've continually just had Twitch split pushing down bottom, so he's gotten this strong. And if you bring a gank with some sort of vision, then you can make him pay for that. Only problem is it's so much harder now on the new patch to go for those things. Wow, look, you can tell Diamond knows that Alex wants to assassinate him.
Being very, very careful in these bottom lanes, but that makes it harder because CFG also needs Diamond in these fights, but unfortunately he's held to that bottom lane to try and stop the split push right now, which is actually going to be the triple push, something we see Dignitas do quite often.
I think that is a good idea for them because they have been able to get some pretty good wards down in the red side jungle. And they should be quicker with their rotations. Tick actually gets caught out once again. Yeah,
that was pretty big for him. It's a good choice that the team didn't try to go in and help too much. I mean, they have Sphinx in the top lane right now.
Look at how deep those red wards are. He knows without flash, he needs to start running as soon as they get any sight of the movement here from CFG.
Good pressure towards the mid lane. They're trying to hover together. Definitely staying power in numbers right now. Trying to clear out everything. Gunter,
4 men, it's a 4 versus 5 situation, and they're still pushing all 3 lanes at once.
Yeah, it's not really what should happen. But it's not enough wards, right? Cognitive Forge is kind of on their heels since the mid game.
Such deep ward coverage should enable them to continue up with that same strategy, too. It looks like they aren't going to switch it. Sphinx is still confident in going against Grim Samurai. I'd like to actually see that battle now because the Blade of the Ruined King, Shyvana, has a pretty good chance up there.
Twitch, though. Just the scary whisper. 31-37 on the clock. 7-9 is the kills. Somewhat going back in favor of CFG now. They've been able to find a few in that top lane. Grim Samurai once again finding himself in a 2v1 situation, but I don't think he expected to see. Oh, the blade for the blade. Eye for an eye. A very nice play, but the Dragon's Descent is a little more than the ultimate.
That assassin 80 carry. Something you don't expect a lot, but he was able to get away from it this time with the second Blade of the Ruined King active there. Second one coming from Grim Samurai. And that's going to give a little bit of control of the Baron, but okay, so there's no home guards on Grim Samurai. It's going to take him a while to get there. And Atomic just has to be more careful.
And that's not really a spot you want to be careful in. Looks like he may be leaving this one on a stretcher. It's going to be a gurney. Still, the fight continues behind the blue buff. Tick is going very low. Reckless swing able to take him down. And it looks like they will continue this fight, but they're standing in a brush that they think they have full vision of. Yso Esports sees all of it.
And you can tell with the completion of the death cap on top of his Void Staff there, Mikasa has started one-shotting people.
He wanted it so bad.
Still on the chase. So they can rush towards that Baron and force a fight because of all the damage they chunked out earlier on Grim Samurai. Even though they didn't kill Grim Samurai, that Twitch assassination really paid off. Now Atomic, he wanted to go get vision because he knew they were running towards that Baron, and that's basically what they gained for the early gank here. I guess they're actually taking Baron after at the same time, as you can see in the PIP during this fight, but the Kale intervention was still left at the end of that one, so there was no chance of CFG turning that one around. Quadra kill at the end for Kale.
Such a good fight for Mikasa. He really made some moves in that one. He was in mid lane, then came back for 3 more. These guys are focusing very well.
He's got the whole 4 items that you exactly want on your Kale. This is the ridiculous power spike. Not only does he have the main 2 for any mage, the Void Staff and Death Cap, which give you the huge amount of damage, but he has added the extra AP scaling of the Lichbane into that, and that's why everybody's going to have to watch their backsides.
I always say you got to be careful when you can take down the turret as fast as the champion. It's not a good sight. At 34 minutes, the timer is in the minds of Yso Esports. They're going to have that, so we almost have a 40-minute Dragon to come up next time, as that will be on the timer for Yso. And we'll see if they even need it right now with Baron as they move across the map. It looks like Samurai is going to be giving a little bit of trouble to Sphinx, but is that going to help? They have 4 pushing the bottom lane. Maybe they need Grim.
Well, he's got a great advantage because he's got percentage health damage from not only Blade of the Rune King, but also...
Oh my gosh, the Lantern's being so great right now, but they do get the intervention out. This may be a time that CFG wants to initiate.
Wow.
Whoa, got Hunter to the backside there. Wappa throws down Ragnarok. That Q, that auto attack is life. It's gone. And we're going to see pushing forward Mikasa in the front line, another 1-2 punch. That's all it takes, and that is all that CFG wants in that fight.
Too many AP ratios.
Too many AP
on
ratios.
That kill right now. Even with all defensive cooldowns blown, they still initiate. Lee Sin, really nice job coming in from the back there, able to kip in Wappa to start it off. Ragnarok does not matter because that kill will melt through anybody.
Absolutely crazy. Mikasa timing, not that it's very long, those Lich Bane attacks. He makes sure each one of them hits. And look what he's doing to Grim Samurai as well. No, there isn't any magic resistance on that yet. And we've kind of been saying that, not having time to build it. He's still going offensive for what's destroying him. But then again, they did that lane swap early.
Pretty sure it will be too little too late now buying magic resist because not only did he rush that Void Staff, but he also has flat penetration. So it's really tough to try and mitigate any of that kale damage, and they're going to have to look for picking people off now because they're so far behind. Straight up fights are really going to go poorly for them.
Still a great job by Sphinx. 317. That would have been over. Nubby Pooh Bear at 283 CS, but it's against the 264. And we have to consider that Shyvana played against Kale in the early game and still rushed that Blade of the Rune King. Wasn't considering the AP damage, so they weren't really playing for the lane, I guess, and it's kind of hurting them now even.
It is, you know, nobody's going to be able to tank the Kale now, but we did see he had pretty good success against Renekton. Now that it is late game,
right.
Shyvana, I was talking about the multiple sources of, you know, max HP damage that he's got, so he has a good time in that top lane at least versus the Renekton. But man, they're behind so much gold at this point, and the Kale can just obliterate towers as well as champions. So
that's where it gets super scary. We got a quick pause right now before we get back into the game, so we'll discuss a little bit. And even from the early game, Thresh, that tick in the bottom lane, they have had so much presence just being in the brush. It's even been warded, and they're still hitting their death sentences. That's definitely a mistake on the side of CFG.
Yeah, it's... The bottom lane there was an interesting thing because I thought the Twitch was going to start roaming earlier, but he just kept on split pushing and relying on the invisibility.
Maybe he didn't because we saw the swap. Renekton was mid. It wasn't a Kale mid that was going to be right there if he was roaming. It was going to be a Renekton, and that's not intervention. That's just another guy to fight with. So maybe that stopped the roaming.
It has been just a really well played game by Yso Esports though. I do like the old style composition with the new Kale that's been just a resurgence of popularity pretty much all over the world.
Yeah, we didn't really see it too much. I mean, yeah, we have seen it all over the world. Overpow kind of brought it back for the EU during the promotion series, so it was kind of like, oh, he's playing Kale. Oh, Kale still does what Kale does. It's 2v1ing at the end of the game. We are going to get back into the matchup, though, just getting Wappa back and locked in, so we're going to have more of the NA Challenger series here as we're premiering it today. We had the first game. That was between VVV Gaming Red and
LMQ.
LMQ, thank you very much.
Remember, LMQ are waiting for whoever wins this match. They're going to have to go up against LMQ. So I'm pretty sure they're all watching this game, and I don't know if they're going to be able to let Kale go over to Yso Esports. I speak way too soon, though. I'm getting way ahead of myself.
That's kind of an easy ban to say, though. If some can control the game as such, it's what the mid laners are loving right now. And oh, they do get the grab on the death sentence. Long range, the kickback. There's a lot of HP on that dragon, though, and she's going to try to head back to her cave, protect the gold, but wait! It takes 4 members to drop her down. The kill goes to Alex the man.
Yeah, the Lee Sin and Thresh can do a lot of moves to keep the dragon in place. They're waiting for the damage to arrive. As soon as the kill at Twitch arrived, though,
that was the stall call. They
fast.
Just needed a little more time. Like you were saying, Kobe, that gold, 64,000 to 50,000 right now. The 14,000 gold lead is spread across the whole team very nicely. And even though no kills, Gunter has 13 assists. He's over half participation in these kills for his team.
Uh-oh, Thresh hook misses, and Kale intervention used.
That intervention was perfectly timed, but is Alex in a good enough spot? The team has been spread out very well here with Mikasa going down instantly. The double kill comes out, and it's going to be big for Wappa as he's reconnecting to the game, and he is ready to go. It did not stop his much momentum whatsoever. They are pushing CFG back into their base. We're going to see what they can do. Wappa's still full health, but the rest of his team is not faring the same, and he is seeing them fall around him like flies. Tick with very low health, but wait, he's almost turning this around in a 3v1 situation. The Flay stops him. The Ragnarok would be imperative right now, and the rest of the team, the batting order comes back around, and Nubby Pooh Bear's there to finally help.
Nubby with the home guards, able to arrive and grab another kill, but another inhibitor turret down. So there are 2 doors open now for the CFG base. What a last stand, though. They still have a chance in this game. They can grab one more kill here on Duel Gunther.
Straight line is the fastest way away from your opponent. Oh! He catches it, and he gets the Thresh Express half. Throws a Q. He's just throwing stuff for fun now.
I think he was trying to hit that Wraith for a little extra distance, but it's okay.
He was standing next to it.
He was moving fast with the lanterns. hard to hit those things when you're moving sideways.
All right, we'll give it to him. We'll give it to him. Trying to be nice to the junglers. It's brotherly love. I get it. I get it. So we'll see what these guys have for each other, right? We got 1 minute and 40 on the Baron. We got almost the same time on both objectives. And right now, you know, as we usually say, that Dragon gets up there in gold. It's only a little bit off.
Coming in.
They keep trying on Grim.
Well, they did get his.
We get the jump away every time, which is great.
Yeah.
And the ulti actually just came up for Alex the Man, so that was really just coming off of the potential scare, and it worked.
Yeah, don't worry, everybody. That thing is in the past.
That is in the past, yes, indeed.
Our pause is proactively. Oh, so this Banshee's Veil is a really good pickup from Alex because he doesn't have to worry about the Gragas ulti now. That was what was a huge issue here in the last team fight. Unless they're able to pop that Veil real early, then it's going to be hard for CFG in this next one coming up.
Looks like they are focusing the top turret. Their waves are at mid and just past on the bottom side. We got to remember that bottom inhibitor is open just like this top one, so they may choose to go around the horn here if this fight's that much in their favor.
They do have their choice of lanes. Top is pretty much as good as bottom at this point, though. The hard engage, like I said, is lacking in this team, even though they have massive damage. Really, it would have to be a Thresh Hook, and the front line is actually well equipped to deal with a Thresh Hook. Wappa can just pop his Ragnarok, and Grim Samurai is fairly tanky, so...
These guys are a chain gang right now. They have a rope connected to them. CFG is not moving without one another. It looks like a little train. They're going to loop around, and they're going to head up to blue buff, or they'll all kind of coordinate and figure out what is going to happen. But right now...
It's a blue elixir Lee Sin, by the way. Cool dance.
Blue elixir Lee Sin. Yes, it is, actually.
Shining blue.
Just firing the rocket up towards the top side of the map to get a little bit of vision. Knowing that rocket's gone.
Now they go for it, because they saw the rocket go by them.
Yep.
But they've got this ward trail of breadcrumbs left in the jungle. They can see the movement. Yso Esports are ready for this. They're going to burn down this Baron so fast, though.
This really is a turn-in fight, and it actually groups up CFG perfectly if they want to turn on this.
They're split on the call.
They just actually threw down. Nope. Locket of the Iron Solari was hit off by Gunter, so they're not going to have that just for the next fight.
They make the move to rush the inhibitor here. Baited him down into Baron, and then they use the speed buff to get over, to get early damage on this inhibitor. They're probably going to be able to get this one as Jinx is recalling from base.
They have Kale from the side, but the Solar Flare comes in. It's going to be a huge jump in from Grim Samurai on the Dragon's Descent. And whoa, they all just put themselves on the back side of the line. They had the Solar Flare, they had the initiation, and then they lined up with each other. But the health bars are falling on both sides, and they are blinking red and bleeding on the side of Yso Esports. But somehow they keep breathing, they keep fighting on, and they get an inhibitor turret with the bottom one open still.
All right, way too much damage on this team right now. They're going to be able to rotate down and get the second inhibitor that we talked about, but they don't have minions. So Wappa might be able to buy enough time for a single member to revive. Maybe Leona can get there in time. They're going to face take this turret. There's no minions, but it doesn't even matter.
No.
There's way too much damage.
Way too much. Kale is huge right now. A great game by Mikasa. The switch of Vernekton to the mid lane and Kale to the top lane was absolutely amazing. The intervention coming in through big plays, and really props to Alex the Man as well. 4-1-11 on Twitch. The composition just coming out perfectly altogether.
That Kale. 370 CS at the end of the game. Talked about those 4 items. When you get that combo onto Kale,
yeah,
she just obliterates whatever target you got in front of you.
These games really impressed me with what these guys came out with, you know, you'd think it would be a lot of what happens in the NALCS or what they follow or what they see, because Cloud9 said, you know, the Koreans last year, that's what we did. We played what was OP, and that's not what they're doing this year. And they're still finding wins, and I'd like to see that the challengers all have diversity too.
I'm glad that there's not a lot of followers we've seen this weekend. People in the LCS are running their own paths. People in the Challengers League, obviously, running their own champions as well. Everyone's sticking to their guns. Crum said it best. You just have to play what you know well. You can play whatever you want as long as you play it well.
I like that. I like that a lot. Wise words from a wise jungler. Now that tonight's 2 games are in our match history, let's take a look at the updated North American Challenger Series bracket. In the top half of the bracket, it's the Spring Promotion Tournament participant, the Walking Zed. They will play the winner of Sunday's Tint Gaming versus Skyline Battle.
The second quarterfinal matchup features tonight's 2 victorious squads, LMQ versus Yso Esports. They will go head-to-head next Sunday, January 26th.